It's
The microphone, Giovanni.
Very good morning to one and all present here in this virtual kickoff meeting of the CHOKO-AGE project. We have a Teams room with several participants that you can see here now. And we are live on YouTube on the University of Perugia channel of YouTube. And I'm Francesco Galli, the PI of the CHOKO-AGE scientific project and coordinator of the consortium of partners of this project. And I will share with you a short presentation to introduce the project to the audience. The CHOKO-AGE project is an European Union funded scientific initiative that has been granted by the JPI Healthy Diet, Healthy Life program under the call PrevNut that you see here. The call was dedicated to the development of targeted nutrition for prevention of undernutrition for the older adults. And we have been selected between 17 proposals with this CHOKO-AGE project that is combining chocolate-based functional food with physical exercise to prevent undernutrition and the risk of frailty in pre-dementia aged people. You can get and access the agenda with this QR code here. Shortly, we will have this welcome speech, this introduction in the first part of the event. Then we present the project activities with all the unit coordinators giving us information about their work packages and activities within the project. Then we present the communication and dissemination strategy of the project and the data management plan as well. And then concluding remarks. In the afternoon, we'll have a scientific session only for research staff and unit coordinators. So this is the agenda of the morning. And let me give you just a few more information on the project. As I mentioned before, the CHOKO-AGE project is a scientific initiative funded by the joint programming initiative within the call PrevNut. The European Research Agency has co-funded the program by the European Horizon 2020 program. The grant has been co-founded by national organizations. In the case of Italy, the Ministry of University and Research, RCM, UKRI, and ISCII for Spain, UK, Norway, respectively. The call, as I told you before, would like to tackle one of the main problems of aging, that is age-dependent malnutrition and muscle wasting. That is major risk factor for frailty in the elderly, and at the same time is at the origin of several metabolic and functional disabilities in the elderly. So what our project aims to do is to develop new nutritional solutions that are at the same time palatable and accessible to the aged, and at the same time can have benefits for preventing or helping to manage at the clinical level the problem of age-dependent malnutrition. Then the project would like to will combine these new nutritional solutions with physical exercise to synergize the effect of these nutritional solutions with the benefit of physical exercise. For example, both these two aspects are very important in keeping under control the levels of cortisol. And cortisol is one of the main contributors to malnutrition in the elderly. Then, of course, we will improve the health promoting effect of chocolate, increasing the content of vitamin E in the chocolate food that we will develop during the project. Vitamin E, as you know, is one of the most important cytoprotection and antioxidant, fat-soluble antioxidant vitamins that has got well-recognized anti-aging properties. So the combination of these new nutritional solutions and physical exercise in this project have the final aim to manage the risk of protein energy malnutrition and the decline of muscle tissue metabolism and mass. So the consortium of partners in this project includes 5 institutional partners from 4 different European countries: Norway, UK, Spain, and Italy, and then 2 external private collaborators. This is our Facebook of the consortium. This is the UK partner, led by Professor Malcolm Jackson. The Spanish partner, led by Professor José Viña, and in collaboration with Professor Consuelo Borras. Then the Norwegian unit, led by Professor Evin Wang, and the University of Verona unit, coordinated by Professor Massimo Venturelli in collaboration with Professor Federico Schena and Dr. Pedrinola. The external partners are Nestlé Italiana Perugina factory, based in Perugia. It's quite famous brand name, Perugina. For sure you know the Baci Perugina, the kisses that are very famous. And this is one of the other chocolate brands, the Nero Perugina, black is the translation of Nero. And this is the actual type of chocolate that we will functionalize with vitamin E. This foglie that is 70% dark chocolate, very rich in polyphenols. And this is the members of Nestlé Italiana based in Milan, and also the members of Perugina factory plant in Perugia that you see here. The other partner is Molecular Horizon, that is a small medium enterprise based in Bettona, Perugia. This is the beautiful location of the company, and they are specialized in bioinformatics and data handling, interpretation, and big data, especially interpretation and managing. Okay, this is for the next speech. So now I move to the second speaker for the welcome address. That is Dr. Sophie Guy from the JPI board. So Sophie, please.
Thank you, Francesco. So it's a pleasure for me to be here today. So as Professor Gallier was saying before, so I'm working at the French National Research Agency. So it's a funding agency in France, and by the magical effect of COVID, I'm in Italy for the moment. I'm in Milan, and so I will present you some information about the JPI-HDHL and also some more technical information, I will say, for your consortium and for the different partners of the consortium. So I will share my presentation. So you should be able to see the presentation. I will move to presentation mode. So is it okay? Do you see the presentation?
Yeah, it is fine.
Yeah. Okay. The JPI-HDHL, so
maybe Sophie, maybe you go to full screen mode. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it's an initiative that is co-funded by the European Commission. And the story of this program started in 2010, where there was the first vision paper that was published by this program. That was the vision for 2030, and the vision was that all the citizens will have the motivation, ability, and opportunity to consume a healthy diet from a variety of food, having healthy levels of physical activity, and that incidence of diet-related disease will have decreased significantly. So this is the first program that has been targeted both nutrition, health, and physical activity. So as you can see on the screen, so there was a long road. Now we move to 2021, in which basically we have sustainable activity. But before there was a long road, and just because you have many partners from Italy, just to mention that in 2015, this initiative was also, for example, present during the expo that was organized in Milan. So in 2020, we organized 70 calls from the beginning of the initiative that represent 67 funded projects. So JPI stands for Joint Programming Initiative, and HDHL for a healthy diet for a healthy life. In total, we have 26 countries participated to the initiative. So it's mainly European countries, since the program is co-funded by the European Commission. But we have also third countries which are participated, such as Canada, for example, or New Zealand. And the goal was to align national research and development and research and innovation strategies connected food, nutrition, and health. So in 3 areas: citizen diet and behavior, food for health, diet, health, and disease. And so up to now, 17 joint action with a total budget of more than 100 million euros. So I will try to move to the slide. Okay. So all the different calls for projects, generally they are in this document that is very important if you would like to apply to other calls. It's in the JPI-HDHL implementation plan. So we had the first plan in 2014-2015. Then we have the implementation that 2016-2018. Then we have the 19-21. So it was in this implementation plan that was described the general scope of the PrevNet call. And now we have the implementation plan 2022-2023 that is in preparation. So you will find more information soon. If you would like to be updated on the different calls which are running, so you can subscribe to the newsletter, you can consult the JPI-HDHL website, and you can also stay connected through Twitter and LinkedIn. So now we'll come back to this PrevNet call for projects. So the title of the call was Development of Targeting Nutrition for Prevention of Undernutrition for Other Adults. And the scope of the call was to support transnational collaborative research projects that address important research questions regarding the prevention of undernutrition in European older citizens through the consumption of appropriate nutritious food. And proposals should focus on one or both of the following topics. So improve understanding of how the balance between diet and physical activity can prevent undernutrition, and the development of innovative food products. In total, so we had 11 countries that were participating to this call, and you can see the list here with the different funding organizations who supported the different partners. And the result of the call was that we had 27 submitted proposals that request a total budget of 15.8 million euros. And among these 7 submitted proposals, we selected 6 proposals that were funded for a total requested funding of 6 million euros. In total, so we have 31 funded partners who are coming from 8 different countries, so France, Germany, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Norway, Spain, and United Kingdom. And in addition, we have 9 additional collaborators who will participate to the funding project with their own resources, own fund. So here you have the acronym of the 6 funded projects and the main topic of this project. And you can see that all these projects, the aim of all these projects was to prevent undernutrition in elderly. So especially we have 2 projects that are more related to diet and the link with physical exercise. So ProMed-COG, that is Mediterranean diet and physical exercise. Fortify, that is fortification of regular meal and physical exercise. Then we have 2 projects which were more a combination of food products and physical exercise. So of course, your project, that was the chocolate bars and connected with physical exercise. We have also the appetite project with innovative plant protein fiber products and physical exercise. And then we have 2 other projects that are more focused on products only, that are Ambrosia project, chocolate bars, plus probiotic nutrient, and Eat for It project, which is dairy products, meat and cereals with high protein content. And so the scope of all these projects is to prevent undernutrition in elderly. So you can find more details on the funding project on the GPA-HDHL website. So you have the link here. What is, I think, very interesting is that you can see that you have some topics which are related between the different proposals. So it can be, of course, very interesting also for you to interact with the different projects that have been funded. For example, we have 2 projects on chocolate bars, so I think that it's quite interesting to see this. So now I will move to something which is more technical, that will address some questions, I think, for the project coordinator and for the project partners. That is the project monitoring. So you have different contact points. So the main contact point is the GPA-HDHL contact point for general issues. So this contact point is, we take care as a PrevNet call secretariat of this contact point. So it's in France, but of course you can join us by mail. So it's the same contact point that you had during the call. And it's mainly me and with the support of my colleague, Martin Batou. Then you can also, if you need help, contact your national contact points for all the issues which are related to the funding organization, such as your national budget, national deliverables, and grant agreement. So I will rapidly go onto the deliverable section and obligation for you that has been decided by the GPA-HDHL and that has been precise in the call text. So you have amongst the deliverables, you have the consortium agreement, the data management plan, midterm and final scientific report, and midterm and final symposium. So the call secretariat, so me, I will send you reminders and collect the project deliverables on behalf of the GPA-HDHL. But you can also, it's also important to know that additional deliverables may be requested by your own funding organization, and those deliverables will be collected by the specific organization who requested it. So it's possible that the different funding organization will ask for more compared to what we ask as a GPA-HDHL. So the consortium agreement, so I will go very rapidly because you have already done it. So it should be signed within the first 6 months of the project, signed by the funded as well as non-funded partner. It should not be signed by subcontractors. It should not be signed by the funding organization since it's not a grant agreement, so it's a consortium agreement. So it's only something that is within your consortium, your research consortium. And it should describe decision-making process, monitoring, reporting, intellectual property rights, open access, sharing of data, knowledge, and financial resources. So the models that you can use, for example, in general, is the DESCA model. Then there is a data management plan that it's under process for your consortium. So it's evolving documents that should be, the first version should be submitted within the first months of the project. So you have this initial management plan that should be updated annually if you have changes in the data management plan. It should contain the nature of the data, how the data will be collected, produced, stored, exchanged, accessible, and reutilizable. Since you know that now we have this tendency that the data should not be used only by you, but it should be accessible to the scientific community and even to the general public. So in the GPA-HDHL, we have a recommended model, but it's not a mandatory one. And so you have the link here if you would like to access this template. Then we have the midterm and final scientific report. So the midterm, as it is written in the name, so it's expected at the half of the project, so after 18 months, because the project is generally 3 years. And then we have the final report that is expected at the end of the project, so 36 months after the start of the project. This report should be completed online on the GPA-HDHL platform. And so we have some sections which are private that will not be diffused outside of the funders, but you have some sections that will be diffused and that will be openly published on the GPA-HDHL website, such as the public abstract and the highlights of your results. This report will contain the main result, publication, patents, seminars, difficulties encountered, and experimental modifications. In addition, the main result should also be presented orally during a midterm and a final symposium that is organized by the program. And also project coordinators and project partners may also be asked to present the result during different events organized by the GPA-HDHL. So for example, during the HDHL conference, that is once every 2 years, and that is for general public. Then if you have a project modification, so what you should do, so what are first project modifications? So it's like, for example, change of PI, work plan deviation, no cost extension. And if you have important modification to the project compared to the original work plan, you should contact the call secretariat and make an official request to the call secretariat. Then me as a call secretariat will obtain the consent of the different funding organizations involved and send you decision letters. And once you receive this decision letter, then you should contact your own funding organization to proceed with the request at the national level. So it's a two-step process. First, the request has to be done to the call secretariat, and then each partner has to go to its own national organization. For extension request, the request should be done 12 to 6 months before the end of the project. So generally, it's difficult for us to proceed with requests that are not done during the last year of the project. So I will kindly ask you to respect this rule. The request is generally for 12 months maximum, and it should be, of course, justified. So you should mention the reason of the request and the consequences on the work plan. On the communication aspect, so if you publish your result in a publication, so you should include this sentence in the acknowledgement section of your publication. Importantly, if you have some interesting output that you would like to diffuse, do not hesitate to contact us, to contact the call secretariat, and we will ask the GPI communication office to diffuse information on the GPA-HDHL communication channels, so we can increase, I will say, the targeted audience. And under investigation, we are now exploring the possibility to organize a training activity for the early career scientists, so PhD and postdoc, which are including in your project, in the project funded during the Pregnant call. we will contact you soon if we manage to organize this, because I think that it's also very important to engage the early career scientists during their career. So we did it last year for the Methodist call, and we had a training activity on impact, and we would like to do it again this year. So we will contact you if this is possible. So thank you very much for your attention, and I think that now we can move on. If you have different questions, do not hesitate to contact me, and of course by mail or by phone, and I will answer all your requests. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for this detailed information on also on technical aspects that are very important for us to manage for the project implementation. And we are running a little bit late, but we will recover for sure. So I kindly ask Giovanni to display the video about some more addresses, welcome addresses by the representatives of the institutional and private partners. Please, Giovanni.
Welcome. We are very proud that our...
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Giovanni. Maybe I stopped it. Can you upload it again? Sorry.
Yes, of course. No worries.
And share the screen, please.
There you go.
Welcome. We are very proud that our researchers are taking part in this international project, which deals with very important topics.
The first part is nutrition. The other part is physical training.
I would like to express our commitment, our enthusiasm to participate in this very interesting project.
We look forward to seeing the outcomes of the project in helping to address muscle wasting in the elderly and to improving quality of life, combining optimal nutrition and physical exercise.
Both, in combination, contributing to an improved health and performance.
Within the framework of the CHOKO-AGE project, we will provide a bioinformatic and biostatistic platform for the project data integration and interpretation.
It's important for us because we can open our factory and know our technology, and also understand that we have a lot of expertise in chocolate that can help the CHOKO-AGE to improve the balanced nutrition in the future.
This study, as a final result, can have a central role for developing a new program, new perspective, and definitely a better life for the next age generation.
It is a great pleasure that we participate in this project together with the national and European colleagues to improve the well-being of the individual and the society.
Last but not least, we will support the dissemination activities, both internally to the project's team and externally, to ensure the CHOKO-AGE outcomes will reach the wider research community and the website.
The CHOKO-AGE project, improving quality of life, combining optimal nutrition and physical exercise.
So thank you to all these colleagues and members of the different partners sending a message, welcome message. And then it's time to move to the second part of the meeting. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you one of the main players in this project, that is Professor Massimo Venturelli, and his unit that is coordinated in a collaboration with Professor Schena. Professor Venturelli has been one of the key persons in this project to set all the scientific plan and research plan of the project. And he's from, of course, University of Verona, and they will be in charge of the aging and muscle pathophysiology and physical exercise task of the project. So please, Massimo.
Okay, thank you very much, Francesco. I'm going to share my screen. So now you can see my screen. And first of all, again, this is a very nice idea that has started a few months ago, I think more than 1 year ago, that was started from Francesco, me, and all the other collaborators. And after that has been developed in collaboration with all the other partners. I would like to introduce first Verona. Verona is a small city here in the north part of Italy. It is a famous city. It is a famous city because we have the arena. It's a very nice place where there are concerts, but you know, it is not new one. It's a very old one because it's a Roman theater. And it's also very famous for Romeo and Juliet. But another important thing is that it's famous for probably one of the most very good wine in the world, that is the Amarone. Apart of that, Verona is famous also for the Exercise for Science campus. Here you can see the campus where there are also the facilities. Here on the facilities we have the possibility to train people. We actually have more than 800 people that are exercising in our facilities. And also it is important to mention that the Exercise for Science section of the Department of Neuroscience is a very good one. It's a very good one in the world because we are pretty close to the podium. We are fourth in the world in the global ranking for Exercise for Science. Let's move on the topic of today, that is Alzheimer's disease and dementia. In these years, probably you see in the media a lot of pandemic view related to COVID-19. But it is important to know that there are another one pandemic that is probably very important as well as COVID, that is dementia. You see from this picture that all around the world there are a lot of places where people that are getting older and older and older are having problems with cognitive function. And you see that there is overall the world that is impacted by this problem. What is dementia and what is Alzheimer's disease? Probably most of you already know that there is this problem on memory, especially in some type of memory that is a short memory, but there are also several cognitive deficits. There is also a progressive deterioration of functional ability and an increased disability of mortality. What is sometimes not mentioned is that there is an exacerbated sarcopenia in people with dementia. And this sarcopenia, you see from this image, is also impacting the mortality and disability of the patients. And also it is upgrading the frailty of the patients. So it is important to know why people with dementia are suffering of this increased sarcopenia. This is an idea that we have developed in the past for some of our research, and I want to share with you. So here you see from this graph, from this picture, that well, Alzheimer's disease is impacting, of course, the brain, the cortex area, but also this have an impact with this red arrow on the hypothalamus. On the hypothalamus, there is also a connection from the hypothalamus to this section of the brain that is increasing the level of the cortisol that is secreting from these adrenal glands. Now, with a lot of cortisol going around in the body, there is an effect on the muscle mass. So with high level of cortisol, there is an increase of sarcopenia, and you see the muscle is decreased. However, if we exercise, the positive effect of exercise is balancing what is happening from Alzheimer's disease. And this pathway is balanced by low level of cortisol. With low level of cortisol, of course, there is an increase in the muscle mass that is also increased by the muscle exercise itself. What I would like also to mention is that all these factors are also contributed to what is going on and with our nutrition and good microbiota, because we already know that there is an effect on the microbiota with Alzheimer's disease, but also exercise is positively impacting this pathway. Now, starting from this idea, in the past, what we have shown is that in people with Alzheimer's disease, there is this neurohormonal dysfunction. So with high level of cortisol, what is happening? People also that having a normal diet, they are suffering of this involuntary weight loss. And the cortisol is probably the main factor that is impacting this involuntary weight loss. What can we do? For exercise, what we have shown in the past is that I can show to you better this figure, that if people are exercising, the level of cortisol is decreased. Let me show you better this picture first. Here we have the level of cortisol, and here we have the time of the day. You know, there is this circadian secretion of cortisol, and here on the white dots, we have the level of cortisol in the morning, here in the morning at 11, and here in the afternoon, and here at the sun dawning, and here during the night. Now, this is the level of cortisol of patient with Alzheimer's disease. If we exercise patient with Alzheimer's disease, you see that the level of cortisol is decreased, is shifted down. And this has been proved a few years ago. Here we have other example of different kind of training. Here there is not an exercise training. This was an exercise training. This was a cognitive training. And you see there is no change. And this was an exercise training plus also cognitive training. And there is the same amount of change in the cortisol. Now, what is important to know from this picture is that the level of cortisol that is very high in patients with Alzheimer's disease can be decreased by exercise. Now, we know that cortisol is an hormone that has a catabolic effect on the muscle. But what we don't know is if we exercise people with different kinds of training, like high intensity interval training or maximal strength training, we can show a real prevention of this involuntary weight loss in patients with...
Massimo, please. May you switch to the full screen?
I finished the presentation.
Yeah, okay. Just in case.
Okay.
Okay, Massimo, thank you very much. I hope that the presentation was fine. I mean, we didn't possibly catch all the details because the size was not big enough, I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much, Massimo. Very clear presentation, and of course, cortisol will be one of the endpoints, laboratory endpoints in this study. And Massimo will be the coordinator of the clinical trial of this project. We'll have a clinical trial in which people will be treated separate or combined with chocolate enriched with vitamin E, and physical exercise with a specific physical exercise program that Professor Evan Wang of the Multi University College will be in charge, together with Massimo, to implement and then to develop and implement in the project. So please, Eivind, or better Giovanni, I don't know, you can launch the video presentation of Professor Wang.
Giovanni, do you launch the video?
The CHOKO-AGE project consists of two different parts, both in combination contributing to an improved health and performance. The first part is nutrition. The other part is physical training. My name is Eivind Wang. I work as a professor at Molde University in Norway. And in this video, I'm going to briefly take you through the physical training part of the project. In turn, the physical training also consists of two parts, where one targets the oxygen transport and circulation, and the other part targets muscle strength in the lower extremities. They are trained in very different ways, and as we're going to see on the next slides, they also have different expected results. First, the strength training. Our research group refers to it as maximal strength training, shortened as MST. It's carried out as 4 times 4 repetitions at a very high intensity in the concentric phase of movement. The concentric phase of movement is where you expand in a leg press exercise, as illustrated here on the picture. The performance starts with 2 warm-up sets at low to moderate loads, and then we have the first real training set, which is so heavy you can only lift it about 4 times. If you can lift it more than 4 times, we will increase the resistance. Thus, that means that you can only perform about 4 repetitions. The break periods between the sets, they are about 3 to 4 minutes, and the whole procedure is repeated 4 times altogether. This means that one training session lasts about 15 to 20 minutes from the warm-up until all the training is done. Very, very important with this type of training is that you also should aim for an explosive movement in the concentric phase where you expand in the leg press. The reason for this is that when you aim for a maximal intended velocity, you fire the brain maximally and you have a very forceful neural drive down to the muscle, which is very beneficial not only for muscle mass but also for improvement in the nervous system. The expected results from this type of strength training, MST, is improved maximal muscle strength, but also improved ability to develop force fast. And the latter is very, very relevant for functional movements, where you only have a limited time to gain the necessary force for what you're doing. So balance adjustments, swift movements, rate of force development is very functionally relevant. So these are the 2 strength measures that we expect to improve. The reason for the improvement is, as I said on the previous slide, an enhanced neural drive from brain to muscle. we expect the firing frequency and the recruitment of muscle to increase. At the other end of the spectrum, on the muscle mass, we also expect an improvement in muscle mass, especially related to the fastest motor units, the type 2 muscle fiber units. On top of that, not only do we expect increased strength and muscle mass, we also expect that the increased strength will have an effect on bone mineral density. That is, increased skeletal health, because when the muscle gets stronger, that will lead to also an adaptation, expected adaptation, in the bone mineral density. And finally, this type of strength training, MST, is also shown to have an effect on work efficiency, which is related to endurance and how efficiently we can carry out a certain given tasks. That could be, for instance, measured during walking. So this type of strength training is known to make us move with less oxygen cost after training compared to before. Now, progressing into the endurance part of the physical training, this is also going to be carried out at a very high intensity, not maximal, but high. The training is referred to as high intensity interval training, short as HIIT, and 4x4. Consists of, after the warm-up, 4 minutes work periods, 4 times at an intensity of 85 to 95% of maximal heart rate. In practical terms, this intensity implies that you should be able to continue towards the end of each interval for maybe about a minute or two. So it's not maximal, it's just heavy. You should also be able to carry out maybe a 5th interval, but we're not going to do this because that might be somewhat exhaustive. So it's not maximal, again, but it's very high intensity. It's carried out uphill. This is quite important because then you more effectively will target the heart and the rest of the circulation. The break periods between each of the intervals will be about 3 to 4 minutes. So we will use that period to remove lactic acid that has been built up during the interval, so we're ready for another interval. In total, this type of training takes about 35 minutes from you start with the warm-up until you're finished. So in combination with the strength training, it's altogether less than an hour of training. And the expected results from the high intensity interval training, they are as follow. We expect an increased maximal oxygen uptake. And why is this important? It is because maximal oxygen uptake is perhaps the most important predictor for cardiovascular health and even early death. It will also increase the total metabolism, making it a very, very good combination with our nutritional products. On top of the health aspect, we also expect that the physical performance, the ability to carry out maximal work, will increase because maximal oxygen uptake increases. Blood pressure might drop, and also because the heart is very well targeted, the rest of the circulation down to the muscle will also probably improve. The total benefit of affecting all the circulation factors means that also you will likely have a reduced risk of cardiovascular events after the training. So these are the 2 types of physical training carried out in our project, and they're going to be carried out in combination with nutrition. Thank you.
Thank you to Eivind for this contribution. That is, of course, showing us the strategy on the side of physical exercise tasks of the project. And then we move to Professor Malcolm Jackson, that is the coordinator of the UK unit. He's from University of Liverpool and is one of the leading scientists in the field of muscle pathophysiology and aging. And he will be in charge of muscle metabolism and proteomics studies in this project. So Malcolm, please, the stage is yours.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Francesco. We are delighted to be part of this project. It's really very exciting. Our team's from the University of Liverpool, and just to introduce Liverpool to you, on this slide you can see at the top we've got the Liverpool waterfront on the River Mersey, and some of the things that Liverpool's better known for. Of course, football, and then down the bottom right-hand corner, the other reason people come to Liverpool is to on Beatles treks to look at the history of people. And this is in the Cavern Club back in the 1960s. This is the University of Liverpool, the picture in the middle at the bottom here. This is the Victoria Building. People may have heard about British red brick universities. These are the traditional civic universities, and they're all of the group of universities are named after this building. This is the first of the red brick universities. So we've got a long history, not quite as long as that we've been hearing from Verona, but we're very excited to be working with our colleagues in this project. So this is our team. We're all within the muscle research group at the University of Liverpool. I'll tell you a little bit about individuals. So this is Anne McArdle. Anne and I have worked together for a very long period of time. She's got vast experience of working on the loss of muscle that occurs with aging, the mechanisms that are involved, and also the ways of preventing it. A particular area of expertise is in the responses of muscle to exercise, the metabolic and molecular responses. On the right here, we've got Masood. Masood is Anajad. Masood is a tenure-track fellow, so that's a new lecturer at the university. Masood's also very interested in muscle loss, and his particular area is that he's done a lot of work on large cohort studies and dealing with big data. Bottom left, we've got Kay Hemmings. Kay is just finishing a PhD in Liverpool with Professor McArdle, with Anne McArdle. She's got lots of experience on exosomes. So these are small lipid-encoded vesicles which are released by muscle. And then at the bottom here, we've got Kostas, and Kostas is a very new PhD student who'll be working with Masood and Anne on work allied to this project, and then myself, and I've been working in muscle loss for over 30 years. Who are we? Well, we do molecular, biochemical and intervention studies in age-related and disuse-associated loss of skeletal muscle. Most of our work has been on sarcopenia, but we're also now working on the loss of muscle that occurs on exposure to microgravity. And we think that those two areas will tell us things which are each of relevance to the other problem. And of course, as I just said, Masood's worked on data analysis from large cohort studies. We've got very extensive facilities, and we do in vivo and in vitro studies and mechanisms. Most of our expertise is in redox biochemistry, inflammation, and as I said, exosomes. And more recently, we've done quite a lot of proteomic work, redox proteomics. We sit within a very large department, the Department of Musculoskeletal Aging Science, and that department houses the largest grouping of basic researchers, vets, and clinical researchers in musculoskeletal biology in the UK. And we're also major players in a centre of excellence in the UK, the MRC versus Arthritis Centre for Integrated Research into Musculoskeletal Aging, that's called CIMA. And that's a joint centre between ourselves and two other universities, Newcastle University and Sheffield University. Newcastle University being very famous for their work on aging, and Sheffield for their work on bone. So that's who we are. What are we going to do? Well, CHOKO-AGE is in two parts. The first one is to devise the components which we will supplement the chocolate with, whether they be polyphenols or vitamin E metabolites. And so we will test some of those compounds to see what effect they have on motor neurons and cell cultures. So as you just heard from Evind, when muscle contracts, what happens is that we get this electrical stimulation through the nerves, and the nerves make the muscle contract. And both ourselves and other groups have demonstrated in recent years that during aging, we get a decline not only of the muscle, but also of the motor nerves, which are actually making those muscles work. And so we're very keen to understand the effects of the components that we're going to add into the supplements on both motor neurons, and these are motor neuron cells in culture, and on skeletal muscle cells in culture, to try and get ideas about what effects we're going to see, what are optimum concentrations, what are the types of compounds that we should look at. So in the cell cultures, we can do things like looking at how the motor neuron cells extend, which, you know, the neurite growth and things like that, which tells us about the something which relates to axonal growth in vivo. And we can look at also at these cells which we can grow, which are mini muscle cells, and we can look at how these compounds affect both the size of these muscle cells and how they work. So that's the in vitro studies. Now, in vivo, we've been hearing about this intervention study and exercise study, which is going to be undertaken in Verona. And Massimiliano has just been telling us that what they'll be doing. Well, they will take muscle biopsies. And this is a picture of someone taking a muscle biopsy on the top left here. And they will take a small part of that muscle biopsy and it'll be sent to Liverpool. And in Liverpool, we'll do both some functional work on the muscles, and also we'll do some molecular and biochemical studies. So first of all, at the top here, this is a part of a single muscle fiber from a human subject. So this is a single cell, effectively, which we can actually take and we can attach between two force transducers, and we can then permeabilize that piece of muscle fiber, and we can add calcium to it to make it contract. And in doing that, we can obtain measures of the amount of force which the myofibrillar components, the basic components of the muscle, can generate. And this will complement and add to the work that's going on in Verona, where they're also looking at the ability of the whole muscle to contract and how much force it generates. We can also take these single cells, looking at generation of reactive oxygen species by mitochondria. In addition to that, we're going to do some of these very modern techniques, which are called omics techniques, and we're going to do proteomics. So proteomics is looking at the whole of the proteins which are present within the muscle. And this illustrates a technique that we've been developing and developed with a colleague, Brian McDonough, over a number of years to allow us to do that. And this is just an example of the sort of data which we'll get. Lots and lots of proteins along the bottom. You won't be able to read the names of those and how they change between the different groups. And then further to that, we've also developed techniques which will allow us to look at the redox status of the muscle. And so these compounds, peroxyredoxins, PRX1, 2, and 3, are in different parts of the muscle cell and will tell us something about the redox status of the mitochondrial components of the muscle cell compared to the cytosol. So that's the sort of work that we're going to do. As I said, we're delighted to be involved and to collaborate with our colleagues in Italy, Norway, and Spain. So thank you very much, Francesco.
Thank you, Malcolm, for your contribution to this project. And the next speaker is Professor Jose Vigna from University of Valencia and in Cliva. Cliva is the partner, the Spanish partner in this project. Professor Vigna is full professor of physiology at the University of Valencia. Is one of the pupils of Krebs. Do I right, Pepe?
Yes.
Everybody should know the name in the field of biochemistry and in the biology, biomedical area. So we have an outstanding panel of scientists in this project, guys. Very important group of scientists. And so, Pepe, your task in the project will be that of monitoring biomarkers of aging and frailty. That is your one of the fields of your research activity. So please, Pepe.
Let me first tell you that I'm very pleased to be here. And now that you mentioned Krebs, Malcolm Jackson mentioned Sheffield. Krebs described the Krebs cycle in Sheffield University, not Oxford University. When I went there, he was already in Oxford, but all the work previously in Germany, then the big work, then was also done in Sheffield, where there is a museum with Krebs. And one of my former pupils, who was the last student of Krebs, has his notebook. Guillermo Saez has his notebook in Sheffield, in the
museum.
Okay, let me go back to work. I'm sharing the screen now, right? No, not yet. Yeah. 1 second. Sí. Sharing screen. Compartiendo la pantalla. Y ahora tengo que darle a... All right. I'll try and be very brief as we were instructed, and I will not give many experimental details that we'll discuss in the afternoon. Okay, this is Valencia, and the two persons who are going to be really working while I discuss with you will be Consuelo Borràs, my right, and then Cristina Mas, both young women. This is the team. It's called CHOKO-AGE. We've been working on aging for already 35 years. Some of you know the basic aging team is with Consuelo Borràs and Cristina Mas, both here with me today and involved in this project. We have a more nutritionally involved, but this is more kind of resveratrol people, and that's with Juan Gambini. The exercise group by Carmen Gomez Cabrera, and then Alzheimer's with Ana. So it's really a family, and we all try and converge in getting fresh age. This is successful aging. And sometimes we try to make it to be extraordinary aging, like with the centenarians. We have here in Valencia, we founded the Spanish Centenarian Study Group. And now this is the major image I wanted to show you. What are the tasks that the boss, this is Francesco Galli, wanted us to perform? And in the work package 1, there'll be, we will try and help to the best of our possibilities with the network organization and the management. And then the task 1.2, analyzing the research outputs and whether the activities are on time. The work in work package 3 will do preliminary evaluation of the products. So we expect to receive products extracted from the different mixtures of chocolates and etc. And we will use an in vitro approach using very likely C2, C12, a cell line that will give us results that are likely to be comparable to those that Malcolm Jackson will be getting in Liverpool. So this is one point. And then the second point, so that's something we want to do in vitro with the products that you send to us. Now, in work package 5, we are expected to do omics. Professor Jackson has already discussed the huge possibilities of the proteomics. We are going to do, and we've been doing for 10 years now, the transcriptomics. This is the mRNA, messenger RNA, and you can study almost 30,000 different mRNAs from each sample that we will receive. This, of course, will be obtained from peripheral blood mononuclear cells of the patients that you have. And if we receive that, then we can do the transcriptomics and we can do an analysis that is what we call sub-network analysis. A sub-network is a group of genes that converge on one, that are all related to one. And we have seen very beautiful results in centenarians. We have some experience with the exercise, and now we hope that we will be able to obtain important information to put together with the proteomics, because in the end, mRNA got signals for the synthesis of proteins, and we hope that we will be able to obtain significant amounts in cooperation with the results in Liverpool. And finally, the pathway analysis. We can see which are the pathway and which are the mechanisms by making use of the huge amount of data. So 30,000 per patient that we're going to receive. Finally, the dissemination and communication. We will contribute the best of our strength to the dissemination and communication of the important results that we hope and that we are sure that this consortium will obtain. And this is the team. You see the whole team here, all of them smiling. This is spontaneous, not that we wanted to smile just for a second. And this is the two major individuals who are going to work. I'll just be sailing around the Mediterranean, but this will be Consuelo Borràs, sitting my right, I don't know if you see her now, and Cristina Mas, sitting in my left. These two young women, together with me, will develop this project. And I have to tell you, we're delighted to be here and thank Francesco Galli and the other organizers for having us on board of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pepe. And I can confirm that the Valencian group is very enjoyable and full of smiling faces. I experienced that in person when I visited Professor Vigna and his collaborators. We have an exchange program active starting from the Erasmus program and the PhD exchange program in collaboration with Professor Vigna, and we had very successful collaboration in the past, and now we start with Malcolm, new collaboration, and with Massimo. So I'm pretty sure that this group of collaborators and Professor Wang as well will have a good chance to keep the level of the production and scientific quality of our research, the same level that we have been able since now.
Let me say that detailed methodology of each point that I mentioned will be presented in the afternoon today.
Yeah, of course. In the afternoon we will follow with technical and scientific aspects of all the technology, omics and in vitro studies will be the subject of this afternoon meeting. So I move to the next speaker, that is me, and just to describe the units that I'm going to coordinate, that I'm coordinating. So let me share my screen. And this is the composition of our units. That is Unit 1. The people involved is from the right side, Dr. Anna Maria Stabile, Professor Cinzia Antonielli, Ms. Rita Marinelli, one of our PhD students at the Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences of the University of Perugia, Dr. Desiree Bartolini, here in the middle, then Professor Mario Rende, me, and Professor Vincenzo Nicola Talesa. He's also the Dean of the Department of Medicine and Surgery of our university, University of Perugia. This is at the same time these slides describes at the same time the tasks of our unit, but also the strategy of the project. You see, you have 5 more work packages in the scientific, in the research part of the project. The first one will be the development of the functional food, of the new functional food, that is vitamin A functionalized chocolate. Then when we lab the new food products, we will study the food products both in vitro, as far as the bioactive components are concerned, their activity, their metabolism in cell models mostly. Then we will study the food product, the new food product, in vivo, in a clinical trial that will be managed by Professor Venturelli in Verona in collaboration with Professor Evid Wang in Molde University. The clinical trial will include the treatment of 4 groups of elderly affected by predementia and dementia with chocolate, with or without vitamin A, and physical exercise in combination or separate. So we will have a 4-arm, 4-group study. Control, placebo study. In this case, the vitamin A, the presence of vitamin A will make a difference in terms of nutritional intervention, and of course the combination with physical activity will be the other control for the study, for the intervention study. The samples that will be produced during the in vitro and in vivo study will be available for the omics, and we heard about proteomics, transcriptomics, but we will have also metabolomics. So the study of all the metabolites, and especially lipid metabolites, that means lipidomics, investigation of these samples. We will have characterized all the protein patterns, all the lipid molecules and metabolites produced as a consequence, in consequence of the clinical trial or the in vivo treatments available for this high throughput systematic analysis of proteins, transcripts, and metabolites. Then all the data generated from this laboratory investigation and from the clinical study will be available for data analysis and bioinformatics interpretation of the findings of the data, of course. And so what we'll do at the end of the day will be to develop a model, so to translate the data interpretation into a model that would be available as the main product of this research project, to recommend the right way to manage for the clinical condition of these patients in terms of both nutritional intervention and physical exercise intervention and their combination. Going back to our tasks, my personal activity, main activity, is that of coordinating the consortium and the team of scientists and the external partners in all the project activities. Then our group, the group I described before, will be involved in step 1, 2, and 5 that you see here of the research activity, and mainly in food development in collaboration with the Perugina factory here in Perugia. Then in the preparation of extracts other than the chocolate food products, the new chocolate food product for in vitro studies, and the chocolate, of course, for the in vivo clinical trial. Other tasks include communication and dissemination activities and data management that will be carried out, will be performed in collaboration with Molecular Horizon. Molecular Horizon will be also an important partner in metabolomics and lipidomics studies of the project. Just a few minutes more for some information about the characterization of the new food product. The food product will be based on chocolate, dark chocolate rich in flavonoids, and the epicatechin will be the main flavonoid that we will study in terms of composition and biological activity in the extracts of these chocolate products that will be utilized in the clinical trial. Then vitamin A that will be integrated as a functional ingredient in the new food product will be investigated both in terms of food composition and then in terms of vitamin A that will be available together with flavonoids in the in vitro tests in the cells that will be treated with extracts, and then in patients after the nutritional intervention. Our laboratory is highly specialized on vitamin A studies. This laboratory is the place where the unique place around the world, the only place in which you can measure all the metabolites produced from vitamin A, and to be more precise, produced from alpha tocopherol, that is the main form of vitamin A in our tissues, coming from food, of course. Vitamin A comes from oily, greasy stuff, greasy food. So oils, seeds, and nuts, all these kind of products are very rich in vitamin A. And for instance, wheat germ oil is one of the main natural sources of vitamin A. Our laboratory was the first, in collaboration with several other groups, to measure all the metabolites produced during the metabolism of this vitamin in the liver and in other tissues, but mainly in the liver. And these long-chain metabolites, the alpha-13-OH or 13-carboxylic metabolite, are very potent, very active molecules in terms of biological activity. Nowadays, we have also some plant analogs that we are studying in collaboration with Professor Vigna, for instance, such as garcinoic acid, that we utilize, and we will be very pleased to share with this group of colleagues to test the biological activity of these metabolites in biological systems. The activity of these metabolites is very intriguing to us, because it's mostly associated with the induction of detoxification pathways in the liver and in the gut, also in the modulation of gut microbiota, and then anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activities. You can find in this literature a lot of information about these metabolites. And this is just a sample of what we do in terms of metabolomics of vitamin A. We can measure all these metabolites, including the free radical generating metabolite, alpha-tocopherol-quinone, and also the other enzymatic metabolites you see here that I described from the previous slide. These metabolites are enzymatic, you see, cytochrome P450, and alcohol and aldehyde dehydrogenase generated metabolites. These metabolites, enzymatic and free radical derived metabolites, can be measured in one short analysis, one single analysis in our laboratories. But what we do is also to test at the same time the response to vitamin E. You see pre and post vitamin E supplementation in the human volunteers. Also the nuclear receptor Pixar-dependent response to vitamin E that is associated with the formation of these metabolites, and cytochrome P450 response. You see that there is a beautiful correlation between alpha tocopherol metabolite formation and alpha tocopherol levels with the Pixar nuclear receptor response. Going back to the slide that Professor Venturelli showed before, cortisol will be another important endpoint, laboratory endpoint in this project, and we will support Professor Venturelli in cortisol and also in the analysis of other hormonal substances in the patients that will be treated with chocolate enriched with vitamin E and physical exercise in this project. The endocrine part of the project is very important, in my opinion, very innovative, and is the actual endpoint, laboratory endpoint in this project. To conclude is just to give you a news or information about the new satellite symposium of vitamin E that will be that I'm going to organize together with a group of colleagues in the next Society for Free Radical Research European branch meeting in Liège, Belgium. The satellite meeting dedicated to vitamin E will be 6 and 7 of June 2022, and this will be dedicated to 100 years of vitamin E. So 1 century from the discovery of vitamin E that was discovered in 1922 by Evans and Bishop as a fertility vitamin. So I conclude here my presentation, and going back to the coordination of this meeting, I'm delighted to give the microphone to Manuela Cron from Nestlé Group Perugina. They will be our technical private partner in the development of the new food product. So, Manuela, please.
Well, actually, after having seen all these presentations from you and your colleagues, I must say that I'm even more happy to be part of this fantastic project. You have already heard the words of my colleague, the director of the factory in Perugina, and we are very glad to be part of this exciting project. Also because as a company, we are as a Nestlé, we are very committed with all these themes. And as a leading company in nutrition, health and wellness, we have been committed to this for over 150 years when we were funded. So we are actually, we want to promote good food and balanced nutrition at every stage of life. So be part of this project, especially targeted to this specific group, is for us new. And after all, we have to do, let's say, the smallest part of the job. We have to provide chocolate. And it was very exciting for me to see the picture of our products in your slides in such a scientific environment. And by the way, we constantly collaborate with university and research institutes to explore the new frontiers of nutrition and the relationship between food and well-being. So this is really part of our way of working. And with the same commitment, we work to create shared value in our communities where we operate, also collaborating and supporting local excellencies that share our mission, as it is the case. And our colleagues in Perugina are very excited too to be part of this trial. So it was really with great enthusiasm that we made ourselves available for the Perugina plant and our experience in chocolate processing for the University of Perugia and to the work team led by Professor Galli. And we really believe that in the CHOKO-AGE project, and I hope also that our skills and technology in the Perugina plant will be really to the point of helping you to this very relevant study. So thank you again from us, from the whole team, to be made available, to have asked us to participate to this project with something that we are specialized to do in a way. And again, our people in Perugina are also very happy to be part of this project that is something new respect to what they do. And it's now that if we can share something of your presentation, I bet they will be even happier to be part of this relevant project. This is more or less what I wanted to let you know from our side. We have the sort of the easiest and funniest part in the project, and I'm personally really looking forward to be able to test the product myself. Thank you.
All of us, Manuela, are looking forward to that option. And to be honest with you, I got a lot of friends and colleagues that are already asking when I can try the product, or I can be part of your clinical trial.
I didn't asking, but the idea crossed my mind.
Yeah. So I see Evan smiling, and Evan, they are also looking very attracted by your physical exercise strategy. No, that is the one that is very promising, and Massimo is also there looking for a lot of opportunities, a lot of clients, customers in the future. Okay, thank you very much, Manuela. And then we move to the final presentation of this part of the kickoff. We are running very late, but I'm sure that all the presentations have catch your attention and interest. And the final part is by Sara Tortorella. She's the person in charge of communication, but also in scientific dissemination of Molecular Horizon. And the company, as I introduced before, is specialized in omics and data management and bioinformatics tool development. So Sara, please.
Thanks, Francesco. Good morning, everyone. I'll try to be very brief. I join my previous speaker in thanking you, Francesco, and all the consortium. It's really great for us to be part of this exciting project. So very few words on what we do and who we are in Molecular Horizon. We are an innovative startup based in Umbria, in the Umbria region. We used to call it the Green Heart of Italy. And our team is mainly composed by women and by PhDs. So thanks to this highly specialized team, we usually take part in national and international research consortia, like the CHOKO-AGE one, addressing the most challenging research questions in the field of life science, digital health, drug discovery, and omics science. Our main mission involves the software design and developments for applications in chemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry, and biotechnology, but we also offer consultancies and experimental services in the fields of chemometrics, drug design, and omics data analysis. What we are going to do within the CHOKO-AGE project framework, well, we will support in 4 different areas. Namely the data storage and management, the bioinformatic and biostatistics software for the omics investigation, and the analytical facilities for omics investigations. You have already listened to the previous speakers, the Professor Jackson talking about proteomics, Professor Vinyas, talking about transcriptomics, we will be more focused on lipidomics. Last but not least, as already introduced at the beginning of this meeting, we will support the project coordinator and the partners during the dissemination and the communication activities, both internally to this team that you have met today, and also externally to ensure that the CHOKO-AGE outcomes will reach the wider research community and the entire society. In particular, we will assist in the organization of meetings, scientific workshops, in the project website development, and in preparation of papers and scientific manuscript for presentation in scientific conferences and publication in international journals. And referring to conferences and meetings, I'd like to conclude with these pictures of our venue, which will hopefully host the next dissemination activities and all of these great people that you have met today. I now leave the screen to Francesco again, and then to my colleague Marta, then we'll go more on the details on what we are going to do. Yeah. Thanks, Francesco.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And if you can leave just a second more these slides. Yeah. We accept your candidature to organize the next and to host the next workshop, of course, of the CHOKO-AGE project. And I'd like to have the party close to the border of the swimming pool, please. Huh? Is that possible? I'm joking. Okay.
Also bring some chocolate. This is the deal.
Okay. We share the science, our science, with your swimming pool option. If you share your swimming pool option. So apart from joking, next speaker is for the final part of the kickoff meeting. Dr. Marta Pirodi. She was one of my past collaborators and is now one of the scientists collaborating with Molecular Horizon, and she's the person in charge for the data management plan. So Marta, please, would you like to share your screen?
Yes.
And going just back to... Yeah, Marta, give me just a second more. Dr. Guy-Sophie previously mentioned about what we have to do, which are our tasks in project management. And the data management plan was one of the aspects that we have to take care about. But we are taking care about this project, this part of the project, and Marta already prepared different versions of the data management plan that is now available for the utilization or implementation in the project. Please, Marta.
Okay, thank you, Francesco. And I'm Marta Pirodi, and I work in the Molecular Horizon since 2018. And at the moment, I'm responsible of biochemical interpretation in lipidomics. During this short presentation, I will go to focus on contribution of Molecular Horizon to CHOKO-AGE project in terms of activities. And as already shown by Sarah, Molecular Horizon will involved in 4 main activities. And moving into the details concerning data storage and data management cloud system. Data will be stored in folders into the drive, and only after several verification steps they will become visible for all partners and available for publication. And more details, I would like underline 3 points. That quantitative and qualitative data and analysis files will be retained for years from the data of conclusion of the study in accordance with the Perugia University. And a backup will also be made following each contact with downloaded data analysis files on the secure drive server. And about data storage sites, Molecular Horizon has enough data storage already available to meet the needs of this study, and more can be provided if required. About analytical facilities, Molecular Horizon will also provide to the project, particularly as regards the performing of LC-MS and target lipidomics in terms of data acquisition and data analysis. And just to conclude, Molecular Horizon will provide the project with a beta version of the bioinformatics platform LipoStar. This platform could be adapted to big data gathering and management, and to biostatistics assessment of clinical and omics data for to verify the efficacy and mechanism of action of the proposed nutritional and physical activity intervention. So our team, we also support with an expert operator which will assist the project during results analysis. This is all on my side, and thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marta. And now we have to move to the Dr. Giovanni Rende presentation. Giovanni Rende is the person in charge of the communication and dissemination strategy, but it's not just that. Because if we are here now and present everything during this kickoff meeting, is thanks to the Giovanni hard work, that during the day and also some night time, she did very hard work, to be honest with you, to organize and set this meeting, collecting and collecting the presentations and coordinating all these activities. So, Giovanni, thank you very much from my personal side and from the side of all the other participants and members of this consortium. So please, the stage is yours.
Good morning to everyone. Thanks, Francesco, for your nice words. We're going to now visit the website of the CHOKO-AGE project, but before your attention is grabbed from the pictures of the website itself, let me say that the CHOKO-AGE project is putting a lot of effort in its communication and dissemination, considering the communication a central goal of the project itself. And with the two aims, not just to make all the information and results of the process of the project accessible to the general public and of course all the scientific community, but also to make it understandable to the general public. These are the two main goals of our communication. In this sense, we developed a website in these previous weeks, which I'm going to show you now. I hope you see my screen. So the pictures, by the way, that you're going to see are mostly taken from the venues which are involved in the project. So here you have a quick menu, but before we're going to scroll the whole page, here you can see a very quick presentation video, which is meant for the aim we just talked about, to make all this information accessible to the general public, considering that the last beneficiaries of the project are indeed normal people. So you're going to see now the presentation video, which is also on the web.
Due to the lowered efficacy of metabolic processes, the elderly are naturally vulnerable to muscle wasting, implying a general decline in the quality of life and increased risk of frailty. An emerging approach to tackle this problem is that of the CHOKO-AGE EU project that combines physical exercise with optimal nutrition to prevent protein, energy malnutrition and muscle loss. The nutritional intervention in this 3-year project will be based on the development of a specific food product consisting of dark chocolate rich in polyphenols, functionalized with the antioxidant and cytoprotection agent vitamin E. As life expectancy and the mean age of Europeans keep growing, the search for health-promoting strategies based on optimal nutrition and active aging has never been so important. Be part of our mission. Join us on www.chokoage.eu and subscribe to our newsletter. Contact us at info@chokoage.eu. The CHOKO-AGE project, improving quality of life, combining optimal nutrition and physical exercise.
So this is the video you also see on the website. You have also a brief presentation of the project. Of course, publications. Let's say the website is meant a bit as a central platform for all the media, which will be made throughout the 3 years of the project. So you will hear about events, news here, and of course about the publications here. There are no publications yet, of course, because we have just started, but as they will come out, you can have a look here. As mentioned also in the video, there is a newsletter available, which is extremely useful for you if you want to keep updated with the development of the project. You can already go on the website, that by the way is chokoage.eu, and subscribe to the newsletter. You have, of course, the team involved in the project, and to give maximum exposure also to the hard work that all the partners are doing, you have a dedicated page to each partner, here, for example, the University of Perugia, and you will see, of course, the team of each partner. You can also have a look to their profiles on their LinkedIn or university profiles. And which is the most interesting part, maybe, you can actually visit them through a 360-degree virtual tour. So here, for example, we are in the office of Francesco, where you can see him hard working, and you have here the map on the top right, and you can literally go around in the laboratories and actually see where the research is going on, so that the project can actually reach the general public, so that they can almost, be at the side of the researchers while they're carrying on their activities. So, of course, this tour will also be further implemented in the following weeks, so that there will be even more content with videos of the research and so on, interviews and so on. You have this for all the partners, by the way, so please have a look. CHOKO-AGE puts gender balance and age balance as well as extremely important. As you can see in the project, are involved more or less half men and half women's, and also about the age. This is also a very important concept. You have people of all ages. Well, there are a lot. Actually, the majority of the people involved in the project are young people, less than 35 years. But you, of course, also have the experience of those who are more seniors, and not just the people involved in the project on the research are meant to meet this gender and age balance, but also those who will be involved in the tests. Finally, about the funding, of course, you have some more information about the JPI and the call. Briefly about the project roadmap. And here you have more information about the project itself, so about the two topics we already talked about, so I'm not going to tackle these ones, but it's about, of course, nutrition and physical exercise. Okay, so this is about the website. Again, you can visit it on chokoage.eu. Finally, to conclude, we will see again, I hope, in the future events, which will be the scientific in October, most probably, which will be also the kickoff of the clinical trial. We will meet in the public events related to the project. First of all, Euro Chocolate, which maybe you already know, it's a big event in Perugia, of course, related to chocolate. The Congress of the 6th and 7th of June 2022 in Liège about the 100 years of vitamin E. And as mentioned at the beginning, there will also be conferences at the middle of the project and at the end, so to share the results also publicly. I hope to see you in these events, and yeah, thanks, Francesco. To you the floor back.
Yes, Giovanni, thank you very much. So it's just time to conclude, and so from my side, what I can tell is that I'm very thankful to all of you being part of this meeting, and a special thanks goes to the speakers, of course, and the project coordinators, all their collaborators and staff that contributed precious standing speeches and work to make this kickoff meeting possible. And I'd like to highlight quickly again the relevance of these projects in terms of possible social impact and scientific impact. I mentioned before the outstanding level, the important level of the scientists that are participating to this project. My feeling is that we have been very ambitious. We have created a very important consortium of partners. They are great scientists. They are also good friends, and this is another important point. I agree with Giovanni that we are a group of people that has got good numbers in terms of young participants, young players, and of course we will have recruitment of new PhD students and scientists in different groups, especially Evin group, and also our side. We will have postdoc position and PhD position available, and of course we can advertise on that very soon. So my final words go to all the other people that we don't see now on the screen, that is behind the curtains. They have been very precious, especially here at the University of Perugia, to provide us all the support for this streaming event and also for the Teams room meeting organization. So thank you again to all of us for participating, and we will see 3 p.m. for the scientific part of the meeting. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Francesco.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
See you later.
See you.